What niche should I go with for my personal brand and business? This is what many software engineers are often asking me because they have so many skills. They're good at software developments. They have some other skills outside of their job and they're not sure what they should pick and build their business around. And it was a huge dilemma for me as well because I built different YouTube channels on different niches and most of them ended up being nowhere. And even for those that ended up making me some money, I ended up not loving them and dropping them anyways. So in this video I'll go through the full checklist how you can pick your niche for your agency, for your coaching, for your overall business and personal brand. We'll go through the full checklist of questions that you should ask yourself and answer before even proceeding with any content, any business ideas, any offers. And it is a really important thing that you should do, so don't proceed anywhere before you finish watching this video and doing the things that I'll explain inside of it. If I would really do whatever I'm gonna describe in this video 4 years ago, I would achieve the success much faster and I wouldn't waste a lot of time and money on doing the things that ended up being nowhere. So let's stop talking and let's get into the most important stuff. First of all, I want you to understand that you should pick just one niche, just one idea, just one offer, just one audience, and this is all is kind of described by niche. You shouldn't pick 3 niches, you shouldn't pick 4 products or whatever you want to build. You just need one thing. Because in case if you pick 3 things, while you will be focusing on all those 3, there will be another guy who will be focusing just on this one thing and he will be a competitor of yours and he will easily overcome you while you're doing all the 3 things and trying to go in 3 different directions. So just picking one thing is going to be more than enough for you if you actually are willing to do work. And also a super important disclaimer is that I want you to forget about all the niche ideas that you have right now in your mind. I totally understand that you have some skills, you maybe know Python, you know JavaScript, whatever. Maybe you're into sports, you're into dating like I was before, and you want to build a thing around it. No, I want you to forget all before you're gonna start watching this video, because it was a huge problem for me 2 times. I already had a niche in my mind while I was watching those videos, while I was reading even this checklist, and I went through this checklist thinking, okay, it's fine, it's a checkbox, it's a good niche, it's a good business idea, this is what I enjoy, okay, it's gonna be fine. But I ended up dropping this idea as a result because I understood that actually it had problems that I didn't want to admit while I was doing a checklist like this. I hope you already forgot about what your current niche idea is and just try to focus on picking the niche from scratch. Forget about everything and we're gonna list all the things that you have in your life, because picking a niche is one of the most important things about your life directions basically, because you will have to input a lot of time into this business, into this machine, and if it was the wrong thing in the beginning, then you will basically lose a lot of time, but you'll also gain experience like it happened to me. Okay, let's get started. The first thing that I recommend you to do is to reach out to at least 5 people and ask them the following questions. What would you say I'm interested in? What don't I shut up about? What you can talk about non-stop? What would you say I'm passionate about? What makes me angry and what makes me happy? What would you say I love doing? What things do I understand really well? What am I good at? What skills would you say I have? For me personally, when I was sending it to my family members, all of them said that I am good at content creation, I'm good at talking about business, I'm good at coding. And you shouldn't give any direction to all of those people. You can just ask them, what do you think? Those should be pretty close people to you, can be your friends, your family members, anyone. If you don't have 5 people, you can message 2. Never mind, just message those people, wait for their results, and they're just gonna help you to move your direction a little bit, because you may not know some of the things about yourself, and they may help you with finding out about the new ideas that you didn't maybe even consider. For example, my ideas that I came out with also ended up coming from one of those lists, because content creation and basically talking about content and building business is not what I was thinking about in my mind. I definitely liked it, but I didn't feel like I'm a good enough person to actually talk about this. But there will be questions that will actually make us understand if this is a good thing to talk about or not. So let's get into them. The next list of questions is what you should ask yourself, not anyone else, just yourself. First, you need to list 5 things or more that you are actually interested in. What are you interested in? For me, it was dating, it was coding, it was AI, it was finances, crypto, psychology, sports, content making, technology, sales, and outreach, like sales outreach. And then you need to explain reasons for each of those points. Why exactly do you like each of those things? It may be more than 5, it may be, ideally it should be at least 5. For me it's 11 points. But I think if I could search for more, maybe I could find them. But the most important ones are probably the ones that you will list first, or at least in this list, like in the first 1 minute. But you should ideally take as much time for this niche selection as possible, because as I already said, this is the most important thing that is gonna basically lead your business. Then after you explained why exactly you are interested in those things, then you're building the next list. It's gonna be a list of at least 5 things that you think you are passionate about. It makes you feel angry, it makes you feel happy, or it basically triggers some emotions inside of you. For me it was dating, because it makes me excited. Coding, it also makes me a little bit excited, but it can be boring sometimes as well. I love AI, it's cool. I love technologies. I love sales. I love making content on both YouTube, LinkedIn, anywhere. I love investing money. I love investing into crypto. I like investing into S&P 500 and all those stocks. I'm really into financial education. I'm passionate about crypto, and I also like metaverse, AR, VR. And then you need to explain again why are you passionate about those 5 or more things. Then next, third list is the things that you understand very well. So it's not about passion, it's not about interest. Maybe you like playing chess before in the previous list. Maybe you like playing chess, but you're not good at chess. It doesn't mean that you can't list it. In the previous list, you couldn't mention it, but in this list, you can't mention it if you are not really good at chess. So you're mentioning what you're good at. You're good at, for me, it was dating, content creation, coding, AI, crypto, and financial investments. Now explain why you understand these things very well. For me, most of those answers were because I learned it, because I tried it a lot, because I love learning about it, because I educated myself about it. And then list number 4. List 5 or more skills that you have. Basically, those are the things that you know how to do well. It's pretty much the same to the previous questions, because it makes your brain to rethink the same list again, and you may come up with some new things, or maybe you will change the order, maybe you'll notice how those things are appearing in your mind. Maybe some are appearing faster, some are appearing later, and maybe you can make some decisions based on that as well. Then you list 5 or more things that you've always wanted to get into, but you didn't get into this. For me, it was SaaS company, building a SaaS company, coding agency, financial education, teaching people about finances, how to become financially stable, financially free. 4, metaverse development. 5, YouTube content agency, crypto education, and business coaching. Now explain why you wanted to get into those things. You're basically explaining. And the last questions that we should ask ourselves in this list is, if you could get paid millions to work on anything every day, what would it be? And this is a super powerful question, and this is the questions that I ask myself, and after which I decided to go with the thing that I'm doing right now, which is personal brand and business building for software engineers. It not necessarily should be for software engineers. This is just what I love to talk about. I love to talk about personal brand building and business, and I also love coding. I like software engineers. I was a software engineer. I left my job and started pursuing personal development and now coaching, consulting. So this is what I talk about, and I'm able to talk about it for free, for years, for centuries. I think I made the right decision because of just this one question. For me, it was making software, making content about business, and I was doing it even before this channel. I was chatting about it in Russian. And the third, education about Web3 and crypto, because I believe that Web3 and crypto is going to be our future. So I wanted to educate more people into that and basically help them transition into this Web3 world much faster. But this is not as huge of a thing as coaching, consulting, and personal brand building. I enjoy really making videos, so I wanted to talk about it more. And the 4th thing is helping men with dating. And this is what I did just before this coaching, but unfortunately I dropped it because I understand that it's going pretty slow, it's going pretty hard, because men are not able to talk about it very freely. They're not engaging with videos too much, they're not replying to your texts, just because it's hard for them to admit that they have problems with dating. So it's not a bad thing. And unfortunately, during one of those checklists, that we're gonna describe later on, I didn't understood that it may be a problem. I considered it to be a problem, but I ignored it for a long while, and unfortunately I had to finish my coaching. I could consider continuing it more, but I also understood that this is not the things that I would also like do for ages, for years, and this is not what I would like associate myself with as well. It's definitely a cool thing, and this is what I'm utilizing myself right now. I'm approaching girls, I'm talking to girls, and this is what I'm kind of pretty good at, and I wanted to share more about it again with software engineers, because I know the software engineers are struggling with it. So I was doing it, but because of one of those questions and those that I will describe later as well, I understood that this is not the thing that I will do forever. And then you need to explain why those 4 things, or however many things. It's not necessarily should be 5 or more, as many as you can write. What would you do for if you get paid millions? If it could be any work, what would you do for millions? So, and then you're explaining why exactly those 4 or how many things are as important for you. And then basically, once you already write all of this down, you will have a few ideas of what you would be doing for millions. If you get paid millions, what exactly would you do? And now you need to create a niche. You need to come up with an idea of who exactly you're gonna solve this problem for. So for example, you can make content, but how exactly you're gonna make content? This is how you can also utilize all of those lists as we wrote down before. You can see at what you are passionate about, what you are skilled about, what do you think can sell pretty well, what you can mix together. For example, for me, I mixed personal brand creation, business creation. I combined sales knowledge, I combined marketing, content creation, and all of this with software engineers, because you primarily need to pick a sub niche. You don't need like a huge niche of people. It shouldn't be like everyone whoever wants to build a personal brand is gonna work with me. No, those should be some sub niche of people. It can be like 9 to 5 employees, and this is what I wanted to go with first. But then I realized that it's a pretty huge niche, and many creators are already trying to fight and take a huge part of this niche. So it's better to pick a sub niche, and inside of this niche become a king, basically. So this is what I'm doing right now for software engineers, for those guys who are trying to build a personal brand and they're working in tech, primarily as employees, 9 to 5 employees, just like I did before. And this is exactly what I was doing while working a 9 to 5 and building my personal brand, making YouTube videos, but now I'm making it a bit different, and this is what I'm teaching, how I would do it right now if I would be in that same position and wanted to build additional income and become basically free of my 9 to 5 job and doing what I actually love. So basically you should write down the niches that you picked that are gonna be relevant to whatever you wrote down, like with all of those lists. So for me it was agency for Web3 companies. Basically I'm creating software for Web3 businesses because my work was related to Web3, and as I already said, I'm passionate about like crypto. Marketing agency for all single professional businesses. It's like chiropractors, doctors, like dentists, and some other guys who are not like good at marketing. So I could set this up because I'm good at software, I'm good at sales, I'm good at marketing, I'm good at content creation. Agency for Web2 companies transitioning into Web3. This is one of the ideas. AI integrated client experience for coaches. Not very cool thing. Conversion and funnel optimization for agencies. This is what I really considered to do for about a week. I even ran market research on this thing, and I will explain in one of the future videos what market research is, probably in tomorrow's video, so make sure that you check it out as well. So basically I wanted to build websites where I'm gonna help agencies or coaches to basically improve their sales funnels, to get more people down their funnel, to actually book calls with them, to buy from them. And this is what I wanted to do because, again, I have sales knowledge, I have content knowledge, I have software development knowledge, so I could combine all of this together and provide those services for them. But I didn't go with it because first I understood that I'm not making an identity shift for those people, and this is what I'm really enjoying when it comes to coaching. Basically I can help people to change their trajectory of life kinda, but when you're doing the this kind of thing for as an agency, you're just solving kind of a problem. It's a painful problem. They're able to pay for it, especially since you're helping them to earn more money or at least save money. And this is what they're willing to pay you for, but you're not making this shift in people's mind. And this is not what I would be doing if I would have like millions of dollars. I wouldn't be building like funnels for other people. Like, I don't think I'm not as passionate about it as coaching and making content for basically all people who haven't done this before, or at least didn't do it at a level they could actually do it on. So I went with personal brand coaching for 9-to-5ers, and then I niched down into software engineers. Then the next idea I had is B2B SaaS agencies. This is what ChatGPT suggested me, like real estate teams, med spas, specialized clinics, law firms. The next idea is compliance. Okay, I'm not going to read this. There's a lot of stuff which I can see was written by ChatGPT, so I didn't go with it. And then after you have this list of niches, you can have as many as you want, but ideally, like, you should pick them based on what your lists are. The previous list that we described, what are you passionate about, what you're skilled about. Even if you could like clean the street like on the street and you would be paid millions for that, would you clean street, or would you actually go and do something else? So if this is a thing that you are able to do for a long time, this is how your business can progress, no matter how your business state looks like. If you have clients, if you don't have clients, if you have money, if you don't have money, you're gonna be able to do it for a long time. And this is one of the most important things when it comes to actually building a business, because you'll have to struggle a lot and it's not gonna be easy. And now, after you have this list of niche ideas that you may go with, now we need to actually qualify those niche ideas and see if they're actually gonna be good ones, if you'll be able to make money off them, if it will be actually something that people are able to pay for, if they even need this solution in the first place. So let's go through this checklist. The first, is this niche growing, or at least is it not shrinking? For example, AI is growing, newspapers is shrinking. There is becoming less newspapers, like cinemas, for example, they are probably shrinking, Netflix is growing. So you should think about it in this way. Is this amount of people actually becoming bigger, or is this becoming like lower? Second question, does this niche have painful problems worth paying to solve? For example, the person is bleeding, they have a problem, there is a blood like in their neck, in their body, whatever. It's super important for them to solve this problem right now. Even if they don't have money to solve these problems, are they actually in desire to actually solve this problem? Do they have this pain? For example, guys who are like not able to find a girlfriend, are they gonna actually go outside and do something with it? Are they going to do some maybe uncomfortable actions to actually solve this problem? Are they willing to invest into this? So I answered for myself yes, but as a result I think that not too many. Some people just want to get something done without doing anything. But in dating, unfortunately, it doesn't work like this. It's not a done for you girlfriend. There are some other companies that are offering like done for you girlfriends. They are just giving you the girlfriend, but this is not the case for me, for what I was doing. So this is what you should consider for yourself. Are people actually willing to pay for it, even if they don't have money? And the third question is, do they actually have those money to pay you for solving this problem? And is this actually a good amount of money? For example, there is a student who wants to become like a content creator, but he doesn't even have money. He really urgently wants to become like a content creator, build a business, but maybe he's not willing to invest into this solution, even if he wants to buy it. So you need to think about it. Others people are actually willing to invest, and this is one of the bonuses why I'm targeting software engineers, because pretty many software engineers actually have finances to invest. And besides actually other reasons for actually having a desire to build a personal brand, get more opportunities, job opportunities, build their own like side outcome, become more like financially free, and there is a ton of other reasons as well. But this is also like a huge plus for software engineers. The first question that you should ask yourself, is there more than 30,000 people in this niche? Let's say you're trying to target like people in some small city, or maybe in some small country, or maybe you're chatting in, let's say, Russian, or maybe some other language that not too many people know. For example, you're using some Chinese dialect to teach people how to become software engineers. So maybe it's not gonna be the best idea for you to actually start doing. Maybe those people are even able to pay you for your services, but I'm pretty sure that many Chinese with some dialect are not able to pay like huge money for some coaching. But it's not even the problem yet, because even if they're able to pay for it, maybe there is not enough of those people and it's going to be hard for you to find it. So if there is at least approximately 30,000 people in this niche, then it's going to be fine, especially if it's a growing niche. You're going to be good. For example, how you can check it is you can just go on LinkedIn, Sales Navigator, for example, or just through the search and see how many people are software engineers, or you can just look at some reports. You can check out how many people are single, for example, if you're doing like some dating coaching, but I don't really recommend you to do dating coaching. It's hard. This is exactly what I was doing, because I was asking like reports, I was asking ChatGPT how many single software engineers are there in the United States. And I was primarily asking about the United States because, again, we need to have people who are willing to pay. And in the United States, there is the most amount of people who are willing to pay for it. The fifth question that we should ask ourselves: are there any competitors? Are there already any businesses, any people who are trying to solve the same problem, already solving this problem that you are planning to solve as well? It was the case for me when it came to dating coaching. I actually wasn't sure if there are people who are targeting exactly software engineers, but later I actually found one woman and she was targeting software engineers in the Bay Area, but she didn't have too many clients and it didn't seem like she's growing very well. But unfortunately, I also still try to grow this thing as well. But I knew that there is definitely a lot of software engineers which are applying to dating coaches, not those dating coaches who are targeting software engineers, but targeting everyone. And I saw that there are testimonials from software engineers in just those normal coaches. So I understood that there are definitely a potential, there is some room to grow, but unfortunately it's not as quick as it can be in some other niche outside of dating, or some other secret niche which people are not really talkative about. So basically you should try to see if there are any other people who are posting content about it, who are chatting about it, who just have some maybe SaaS built to solve this problem. This is exactly what was for me when I was looking through funnel builders. There were a lot of funnel builder applications, so I understood that there is definitely a potential in this as well, but there were some issues, as I already mentioned. And with personal brand coaching, I also understood that there is a lot of people who are helping just employees and basically other people on LinkedIn to build their personal brand. So I understood that this is also a case when it comes to software engineers. And what's helping to answer this question even more is to actually do market research with those people, reach out to them and book a call with them and have a conversation, a small interview, and just ask them questions and see if they're actually willing to pay for it, if it's actually a painful problem for them. And this is the best way to actually know if this niche is valuable and actually makes sense to work inside of it. And this is exactly what I was doing right now with software engineers, and I understood that it is actually a pretty big problem that I can solve. And later on, I actually found a few guys who are actually helping other software engineers to build agencies around their knowledge. So basically doing pretty much the same what I'm doing, but I'm talking more about building a personal brand and not necessarily building agency, but building maybe a coaching agency, whatever is on the mind. But with a primarily focus being personal brand, because this is the strongest thing that you can build for yourself, and it's going to help you no matter what you're going to do in your life, in your business. And the sixth super crucial checkbox that we need to cross here as well is that can people in this niche be directly targeted online? And this is a problem that I didn't really think about a lot when it came to dating coaching, because I thought that I'm just gonna message dating, I'm just gonna message software engineers on LinkedIn, ask them how is their dating life going, and this is what I was doing, and this is how I was basically getting any like attention, attraction, but it didn't go very well and it went very slow, and it's definitely much slower comparing to whatever I'm doing right now with my personal brand coaching consulting. And a good thing about B2B businesses, not B2C, because right now I'm primarily targeting B2C. I'm targeting people who are just physical people, they're not businesses, and they're willing to build a business. But in case if you are targeting businesses like chiropractors, doctors, gym owners, whoever, you can find even their phone numbers on like maps, on some websites, even on LinkedIn or somewhere else, and you can reach out to them much easier. You can reach out to them through the phone, as these are the things you can really do, and I suggest you to do if you can do this, or you can write them an email, or the worst case is that you can write them at social media DM, like on LinkedIn, Instagram. This is considered to be the easiest one, and it gets pretty much the worst results. No, actually email has less conversions when it comes to comparing them with social DMs, but the thing with email is that you can send thousands and thousands of emails at one click, but with social DMs you can't do this. It's not so automated, and there's a lot of limitations. For LinkedIn, for example, you can send 150 to 100 connections per week, and it's only if you have a LinkedIn Premium. If you don't, it's going to be a problem for you. But with emails, there is pretty much no limitations for you at all. So you should actually think about it. Are you able to target those people? If you are not able to target those people online, if you can't text them, then the only solution is going to be either advertisement or content. And it's not the quickest solutions. Especially with content, it's pretty slow. The best way you can target your clients and find them is through outreach, where you are actually texting them yourself, and content is more about long-term game, and advertisement can also be pretty quick, but with advertisement you ideally should have some social proof, and it's probably not the case if you're watching this video about what kind of business you should start. And this was the list of the checkboxes that are super required, they're necessary. If one of those checkboxes is not crossed, this niche is no longer viable for you. You shouldn't continue working on this niche. You shouldn't start it if you didn't start it yet. Those are must be. And for me, as you could understand with dating coaching, it was the problem with the last one. It was hard to find those people who are actually struggling with dating, and it was hard to push them to actually change it as well. So this is why I switched the niche. And this is why you should have all those checkboxes in here. And now we are coming to optional checkboxes that are not necessary, but it's really good if you have them. The first thing is this: does this niche interest you? It probably does, because we already selected those niches based on the list. Do you already have some level of understanding in this niche? Even if you're not the best professional in this niche, the most important thing is that you are able to grow in this, is that you are able to learn about this. Because nobody is an expert when they start, but if you are really passionate about it, just like we described before in the list of the things that you actually love. For me, I love content, I love sales, I love building a business, I love software engineering as well. So all of this combined to me, I can learn whenever I need to learn something, but I already have a lot of knowledge. I'm not like a super the best expert, but I do have a lot of knowledge, I have a lot of experience, I have my own story, and this is also one of the checkboxes. So I'm able to talk about it, and I'm able to learn new things whenever I have to. So this is the next checkbox. Were you the member of this niche yourself? Do you have a story associated with this process? For me, it was a huge story. I was working as a 9-to-5 employee. I was trying to build personal brands and was doing it completely wrong. I was making a ton of mistakes. I built a personal brand as a result, and I made some money, but then I realized that it's not the thing that I should be doing, and it's not passing some of those checklists. It's not what I enjoy. So eventually I switched. Next question is that, do you like potential clients of this niche? Will you actually enjoy chatting with those people? Let's say you're targeting gym owners. Are you actually like excited to talk with those people? Maybe there are like some huge guys who are talking like I'm sorry for generalizing people here, but did you ever chat with those people? Do you have something in common with those people? Will you enjoy the communication process with them? For me, I'm chatting with software engineers. I love software engineers. I was a software engineer, and I'm able to talk those terms, software engineering terms. I'm able to target them. I understand what are their problems, and I love talking with software engineers. So it's definitely a plus for me. Does this niche align with your values in life? For example, maybe you're planning to target like casinos or maybe some other like bad guys, mafias, whoever. Do your values actually align with those people? Just think about it a lot. For example, maybe it can be as such a small thing like working with coffee shops. Maybe you think that your skills align with working with coffee shops. For example, your like dad was making coffee, whatever. Maybe you know how to find clients for actually coffee shops, how to make them more sales. But maybe you don't drink coffee yourself because you feel like coffee is bringing a heart attack for you and for people all over the world. So maybe it doesn't really align with your values. Maybe you don't want to work for this company. And this is the case for me. I wouldn't like to work for a coffee shop. I wouldn't like to have anything in common with a coffee shop because I don't drink coffee. And I think that it is a huge addiction and is not making our life better in any way. So this is why I wouldn't like to contribute to this niche. The next question is that do you already have the skills that can support your growth in this niche? Yes or no? Even if you don't have enough skills for this niche, you can still learn during the process. And one of the best ways to actually learn is by teaching. I'm not saying that you shouldn't know anything, but you should know at least more than whatever your client knows so that you can actually provide him value. If your client knows more than you do, then probably, yeah, maybe it's not the best thing for you to go with it. Unless, of course, you want to spend like a few months really studying about this stuff a lot, or maybe just a few days if you really want to dig into this for just a few days really deep and understand all the problems, understand all the materials that may be relevant for you later on. Two more questions here. Do you have a critical information required for you to solve problems of your potential clients? Maybe you're going to build software for them. Do you have the knowledge to actually build this software? Do you have knowledge about writing posts on LinkedIn if that's what you're doing? Whatever your niche specific critical information is. And the last question is that do you have external skills that may also be relevant for your niche? For example, it's not necessary for me to be good at software engineering when I chat with software engineers who are willing to build a personal brand, but it's definitely a good to have skill that may also give me some additional benefits when it comes to talking to this niche. I can use some software development terms like sprints, reviews, PRs, GitHub, whatever. And it gives me an additional ability to become like closer to my audience and build more trust. And maybe there are some additional skills that you may also have when it comes to the niche that you are choosing. So write it down as well and do this checklist for all of the niches that you specified before, and go through all of this checklist for each of those niches and decide which one you want to go with. And now, after you went through those checklists, you will have a few niches that actually satisfy those results. So you will have to ask a few more questions yourself to understand which niche you should ideally go with. And here we have a few questions that you should ask yourself again. The first question that I already mentioned: what would you be doing if you would be paid millions of dollars for that? Would it be the first niche, second niche, or third niche, whatever you wrote down there? Second question: is there any person that you know about whose work you would like to continue after he stops doing it? For example, there is some influencer, maybe you are passionate about someone, maybe Elon Musk, maybe some whatever YouTuber, and you know you love his work, you love what he's doing, and you want to continue his job after he's going to be done with it. Maybe he will retire, maybe he's going to die, whatever. And is there any person whose work you would like to continue and to contribute to the world? Third thing: what is the only thing that you would like to share with the world? What is the number one thing that you would like to let everyone know, and how would you actually want to impact people's life with this specific thing? For example, for me, this one thing is to let everyone know that you can make money outside of working as a normal 9-to-5 employee, that you don't have to work the job that you don't like, that you don't have to exchange your hours for money, and that you don't have to follow the same path that everybody else follows if you don't want to get the same results as everybody else does. Those are a few things that I really want to share with the world, and this is exactly why I chose this niche. Even while for me it may feel like you're coaching coaches on how to become coaches, it feels like a closed loop. But when I thought about it a bit more, I realized that even if those coaches will also be coaching coaches on how to become coaches, they will share my value with the world even more, because it will be never the case when everyone is in our world is becoming a coach, because it's not so easy, and this plank is going to become even higher, and it's always high even right now. I had a ton of experience and now I can talk about it. 4 years ago I wouldn't start this coaching business as easy as it is for me now. I had those failures, and those failures are also going to be the case for you even if you do everything perfectly. So this is why I chose it for myself, and I understood that even if those guys will also be teaching other coaches on how to become coaches, my values, my message that I shared with this guy is going to be shared with even more people. So I'm basically reaching out my goal by using other people basically to produce this goal as well. Of course, preferably I don't want coaches to teach other coaches on how to become coaches, but if this is what they want to do, sure, you can go with it. But I'm pretty sure there is more than enough things that software engineers and any other people are able to teach other people, help them out, solve their problems, and I'll be happy if I'll be a part of this journey of helping to so many different people in different life scenarios. And also the last question you can also ask yourself is what you were excited about when you were a kid, what you were passionate about, what you couldn't stop talking about. Maybe it was girls, maybe it was software engineering, code, whatever it was. So just think about those things, and it may also give you a better understanding of what niche you can pick. And then after you ask yourself those questions, I think you should have a clear understanding what niche you should go with, and I wish you good luck. And if you're actually going to continue with this niche, if all those checklists were actually correctly selected, if none of this was made with your pink glasses on, if you really did it like honestly without trying to move direction into one niche, then you definitely will achieve success with your niche, and I'm wishing you good luck. And to actually make sure that this is going to work before you actually start selling anything, creating any offers, and better even understand the message of your potential clients, what they're struggling with, what their goals, I also recommend you to run a market research. And I'm explaining how to do this in this video. I didn't post it yet. I'm going to post it tomorrow. So if there is no video here, wait until another day. And you can also reach out to me on LinkedIn and we can chat about what niche you selected, and I can help you for free to actually understand if this is a good niche and maybe ask you a few follow-up questions on your niche selection and if you should go with it or not. Link to my LinkedIn in the description. I will see you there or in this video. Peace.